Simple questions for 100 people. I'm Bill Carell, and this is my investigation, my research project to gather data from 100 beautiful human beings for the sole purpose to see what actually happens across the interviews. Now, the questions are going to be fixed, and all the interviews will remain consistent, the actual variables being just the participants themselves and their answers, okay? So it says, if I'm having you, Hannah, come sit on my porch to share your thoughts so I can learn about people. We're looking forward to what we're going to learn when we're complete. Uh, and we're very interested in the people, the process, and your particular story. Well, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce my guest. Well, no, I won't do that. What is your full name?
Thanks for having me. My first name is Hannah, my middle name is Faith, and my last name is Bishop.
Great. Okay. So is that all of them? Do you have like a confirmation name or something else in there?
No.
I especially like to have Italians on because it seems like they have like 7 or 8 names, you know?
I know, right? Yeah, I
It's
have some
really
cousins that are like that, yeah.
very, very cool. Okay. And Hannah, what is your favorite nickname that most people don't know?
Gosh, I think my favorite nickname, that most of my family calls me is Han.
Just Han? Yep. Are there any other ones?
Um, I mean, some of my siblings call me Hannah Banana, that's like the typical one, so yeah.
All right. So like yourself, I came from a big family. And, as I recall, you're almost split down the middle with number of boys and girls, right? Or is it
Yeah.
like more girls than boys? Which is it?
No, we're perfectly even, 5 boys, 5 girls.
That's amazing. So, and where do you fall in the middle?
I'm number 8.
Number 8. Okay. So, yeah, I was number 1 in my brood, and there were 6 of us all together.
That's fun.
So, uh, here's where I'm gonna go with this. When we had issues with our younger sisters because it was boy, 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 girl, 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 right? We had nicknames for them, and then we had nicknames for them when we wanted to, make them feel good, and then we had other nicknames when it wasn't quite so pleasant,
Yeah,
like when they were acting like we were beating on them, and my dad would come into the room, and then after he left, those nicknames would come out.
yeah, yep, I hear you.
Any of your brothers like that, or maybe your sisters? You'll get a big smile out of them, I'm sure.
No, I mean, honestly, growing up, our mom, kind of she raised us to know that like when we were angry that we didn't take it out on each other. So we actually didn't do a ton of name calling and a ton of like bashing each other. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of gotten that way since we were older too. All of us just, we just love on each other and
Yeah.
try to have our arguments in a proper way and talk it out like adults.
Yeah, and probably could get away with it one time and then got corrected after that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're helping me remember, those years that, Sarah and I were hanging out and we were talking about doing, seminars for solopreneurs and stuff. Uh, she just kept bringing up things that your mother did and how she raised all of you, and I thought, "I gotta meet this woman one of these days," you know?
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah. So back to you. When did you first notice what color hair you had?
Gosh, I would probably say maybe when I was 8, I saw somebody else with blonde hair, and I was like, "Wow, that's a different color than mine."
Wow.
Yeah.
And where do you think that was? Was it at school or at a shopping mall
I
or
think it was at the grocery store.
Yeah, alright. And then what did you wonder?
I wonder what I would look like with the hair like that, as everyone does. I
For
never
sure.
bleached it though. I never did it.
That's funny. Okay. And the other thing too is that you all have this marvelous naturally curly hair, right?
Yes. Yep.
And, it's it's quite a sight to behold, especially in your family pictures with all of you present at the same time. I can just only imagine if the guys let their hair grow out too.
I know, right? Yeah, Greek and Italian.
There you go. So, what is your favorite thing to do to intentionally waste time?
I would probably say read. I'm an avid reader, so I definitely love to waste time doing that.
So if you know you've got stuff on your to-do list that has to be done later on in the day, later on the day is good for you, and you'll find something to read between now and then, kind of thing?
Absolutely. Yep.
Excellent. And what do you normally read?
Gosh, I read a lot of self-help books. I read a lot of the Bible. I read a lot of English literature. So I like a lot of the older classics, Dickens, Austen, a lot of poetry. So
Yeah.
my range is quite large.
So while you're wasting your time, you're also improving your outlook on life and growing your brain. I like
Yes,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, Hannah, what is your favorite movie to watch alone?
Gosh. Well, the last couple years, my go-to movie has been the 2005 version of Pride and Prejudice.
You are a brain, aren't you?
Yeah, I
That's
think I watched it 5 or 6 times last year, just on flights, at home on my phone. It's just a really peaceful film, and I just love I love the music, the cinematography. Yeah, it's good.
one of the favorites of my wife too. And is that something you think that the rest of your family and friends would know about you at this point? I mean, you get a little bit of ribbing about.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, my daughter, my number two daughter, Becky, watched the William Wallace movie, at least 100 times. I mean,
Yep.
we would come home and find her coming home from school, sitting there crying every afternoon. What are you doing?
It's a good film.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So if you were to have an action figure made of you, what superpower would it have, and what colors would its uniform be?
I would probably say super strength,
Yeah.
and it would probably be like patriotic red, white, and blue.
So let's dive into that a little bit. Now, what would you do with your superpower of super strength?
I would just use it to help others, if someone was in need of assistance or, in trouble, I would definitely use it to help other people out.
Great. So if you're thinking in terms of any group of people, is there anything that comes to mind, or would it just be in general as you come to folks that need your strength, you're going to give it to them?
Yep.
I like it. An equal opportunity strong gal.
There you go.
And let's go back and look at the red, white, and blue. I appreciate that. Tell me more, please.
I'm a patriot at heart through and through. I love this country. I love the people that have fought for this country. I have nothing but 100% respect for them, for their families, just, what they go through on a daily basis, whether they're, fighting overseas or here at home, just knowing what they go through, what their families go through, the struggle of having them away. So yeah, I love it. Like, I'm obsessed with American flags. I never take this necklace off. 1776.
I like it. That was a good year. So you tear up a little bit when Lee Greenwood starts singing?
I sure do.
Me too. Me too. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. So, all right. So this is we're gonna go back in, and you had a house full of people. We got to bear that in mind. What did you want to grow up to be when you were 5 years old?
Oh, gosh, this one's kind of funny. So my person that I idolized growing up was Martha Stewart, and I wanted to grow up to be Martha Stewart.
Not a bad choice. There's some parts of her life that you might want to skip over just a little
Yeah.
bit, but for the most part, there's a lot of cool stuff going on there.
Yeah, no, she's a pretty cool person. Growing up, I watched a lot of her cooking shows, her home show. Just, she was such a big part in, you know, learning how to bake, how to cook, all that kind of stuff. And so, for me, it was just like I loved Martha.
Have you ever seen her?
No.
For the folks at home, Hannah gets out, okay? She's all over the United States and doing different things, and I'm sure she could give us a long list of, celebrities and dignitaries that she has met, but, she's if you did meet her, what would you say to her?
Gosh, I would thank her for sharing her talents with others, because that's obviously something that she focused on and became well at, and then decided to, share it with other people. Obviously, she made a lot of money at it, but you know,
They say the first billion is always the hardest, right?
exactly.
And what was it about her in particular, when you were at such a young age that kind of caught your attention and said, "This is worth paying, more attention to," and set other things down and like watch her?
I just love that she was so well rounded. Like, like she was so good at so many things. And, whether it was cooking, baking, gardening, home making, just whatever, like she was so well rounded that I was like, that's a really cool person, you know?
Yeah, and a halfway decent gal too, on top of everything else.
Yeah.
There were some that would be a little bit nasty around other folks, and never saw her do that. I never heard anybody say anything negative about how she was with the folks that were on set with her,
Yeah.
or in any other way for that matter. So, all right, Martha Stewart, we've got strength, we've got red, white, and blue uniform, and I'm just piecing this all together here. I'm starting to see, with your hands on your hips and your chest out, looking out for where the next opportunity to make a difference is going to be.
Yeah.
And what is your greatest accomplishment?
Gosh, my greatest accomplishment, I would say, was learning how to teach and dance, not having grown up doing it. But I was a ballroom dance instructor for about 6 years. And I pretty much learned that from scratch. So I really applied myself, and I learned it as well as taught it. So I kind of did the process at the same time. But yeah, I would say that's probably one of my greatest achievements so far.
I would agree with you. I think that's pretty much how I met you. Was you were posting on Facebook story, and then you'd have these marvelous, either videos of you dancing or with other people that were all dressed to the nines, either competing or doing some kind of a demonstration. Did you actually competitively dance as well?
I did, yes. Yeah, I competitively danced with a partner of mine as well as with my students.
Good for you. That's amazing. You've got quite a resume. Uh, so, you accomplished all of that, and tell me a little bit more about maybe some of the folks that you worked with and what they went on to accomplish. Because I get that your personal part of it was pretty good for you, but I get a sense that you enjoy watching other people around you grow like weeds.
I do, yes. And honestly, that was one of my favorite things about being an instructor was just seeing someone come in and they didn't have the confidence. They knew they had a desire to do it, but they didn't really necessarily have the confidence to do it. And then just kind of taking them and holding their hand and giving them that reassurance that it was something that they could learn how to do, and then within 6 months just watching them completely flourish into a whole new person that they were able to express a side of them that they almost didn't even realize was there. I think one of my, I wouldn't say my favorite students, but he's definitely up there. um, he was in his, or he is in his late 70s, early 80s,
Wow.
and he had lost his wife of 45 years. And when he came in, he was just kind of like lost. And I just kind of like took him under my wing and I was like, you can do this. Like, if this is something that you really want to do, like, we'll do it together. And within his first year, he went to competition. He joined an online dating forum and he fell in love. He got remarried. He won a ton of awards at his first competition as well as his first showcase. And he just like, he totally became this whole new person. And it was just so cool to see. And he, we keep in touch now. And he tells me now, he's like, you completely changed my life. And I just feel so blessed that I had the opportunity to be able to meet him and to have all those amazing, wonderful experiences with him.
Pretty much a dream come true, right? You created a heck of a monster there. It sounds like to me he was looking for you, and between the two of you, you guys just took over the world.
Yeah, pretty much. Last.
Amazing. That means there's still hope for me, okay? I
Absolutely.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah. And I do appreciate, I know you don't post a lot of dancing videos any longer, but I'd love to see any more, and if they show up on Facebook over the next week or 2, I'll know that I instigated that little bit of
Okay.
fun. Yeah.
Well, you never know when one or two might pop up.
Yeah, I know. You're good in that realm. There's always something a little bit different. So, all right, Hannah, I like getting into this a little bit more. Who's your favorite person to listen to?
But that would have to be my mom. She's got a lot of great advice. She's gone through a lot of, different experiences in life. And she's like my number one person that I run to if I need advice or, if I need assistance with something, I'll always be like, help. So yeah, she's definitely number one for sure.
So this is interesting. First of all, what was your mom's maiden name, if you don't mind?
Her maiden name was Nestor.
Nestor. Okay. And did she come from a large family also?
Yes, she was the second oldest of 8 kids.
Okay. So you do get time in grade and gain a little bit of hard knocks wisdom as you're growing up,
For
along
sure.
with losing some of your teeth, so so it seems to me, by the time that she got to you, if you were number 8 out of 10, she probably had done it all pretty much by then.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
when
I had more kids.
it's usually the first one that knocks the walls down so that the other kids can march in behind, kind of scot free, That's how it was at my house anyway. So, if you're thinking about the types of things that she would have conversations, like for instance, in the next week or two, what would you go and ask her for advice on?
Just big stuff and small stuff, So right now I'm kind of transitioning in a couple of different job areas. So, she's like my number one person to go to about like what I should do or, life advice.
Yeah.
Um, and then something as small as like, hey, I'm making this for dinner. Like, how would you cook it? Like something as small as that.
Yeah.
So she's very versatile in her advice.
How frequently do you get to speak with her?
Daily, actually.
Excellent. Good for you. Good for you. I'm gonna live vicariously through your conversations with your mom because mine's been gone for a minute. We lost her in 2012, but I still talk to her every once in a while. Usually when I don't know what else to do, and she usually answers me back in some way or another, and that's what she's good at. She was always had an answer.
Yeah.
So, this next one, I especially want to hear what you have to say. Please complete this sentence. When I grow up, I'd like to.
Gosh, when I grow up, I would like to bless as many people's lives as I can. If I can wake up and touch 2 or 3 people's lives in a day, then I've achieved my goal, because my goal is to, bless as many lives as I come in contact with. And, there's a lot of crazy stuff in the world. There's a lot of angry people. And my goal is really to just spread as much light and love and laughter as possible. And, if that means me kind of being goofy or me, acting a little crazy to make somebody laugh, then I will absolutely do it.
I've seen it. And I also want to ask if you were gonna think about the next 4 or 5 years and how you would get to that point. I get you're blessing people already. There has to be a little bit more definite. Is there a particular group of people that you'd really like to make a difference with?
I think, like my generation, I think like a lot of, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, they're kind of lost. And I think that they need to know that there's people out there that are good people. There's people out there that care about them. There's people out there that, they don't have to fall prey to all the crazy stuff that's going on in our country or the world. They can just, it's okay to go back to your roots. It's okay to go back to what you were raised with. And, I would definitely say probably, reaching more of like my age group for sure.
Yeah. They need it, don't they?
They sure do.
As a group, there's a lot of work to be done.
Yep.
It doesn't mean they're not good people, it means they still need to find that out about themselves in many cases.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what is the most important thing in life to you right now?
I think my family, realizing that like they're the most important, like working on those relationships, spending time with my niece, just focusing a lot on like the important stuff in life because it's so easy to get distracted by work, by money, by bills, by, everything else. And, unfortunately, a year ago, I lost my oldest brother. So that
I'm
really,
sorry, I didn't realize that. I'm really sorry for your loss.
thank you. Yeah. So it put a lot of things into perspective for me as far as, you know, fixing relationships that might not have been, 100%, whether it was with family or, extended family. And so for me, yeah, it's just my focus right now in life is just really, giving as much as I possibly can to them and to those relationships.
Yeah, you're tending to your fences and, strengthening them and building the relationships to the point where people know that you can count on them and you know you can count on they can count on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you kinda threw me there a little bit. I'm so sorry I missed your brother, passing, but and I don't know
Thank
how I did that, but I better pay attention in the future.
It's okay.
You've helped me already. My goal is to be a better friend, okay?
Okay.
So, what would you like to leave in the world after your life is done?
I would say a legacy, whether that is, my children or my children's children. I don't have any kids yet, but I hope to someday. And I hope that, I can leave them with, good morals and values to be able to continue to help people that are around them, to bless others' lives that are around them. Just to know that their impact is important. I think a lot of us don't realize how much our lives impact others just on a daily basis. So, whether that is with, just smiling at somebody at the grocery store or helping somebody out with their groceries that doesn't have enough money or, just small acts of kindness, how those really add up to something bigger and better in life.
Yeah,
That would be the legacy that I would want to leave behind would be, you know, that people would say about me that I was a wonderful person, that I was a lot of fun to be around, and that, they learned that from me.
absolutely. Are you doing any volunteer stuff?
Not currently right now. I am looking at, a couple different options as far as, doing some volunteer work.
Yeah, and who's been lucky enough to get your attention in the past?
I've given it away to a lot of friends. So I've done a lot of volunteer work for friends and their different things that they're working on, their different community service things, just giving away as much as I can.
Absolutely. And you have a tremendous amount of energy too, and I don't know where you get it from. Do you?
I do. I get it from the Lord.
Yes, you do, and you're
I
free to say anything you want to about that, by the way. This is your time.
I mean, honestly, my relationship with the Lord has been the thing that has kept me grounded. It's been the thing that's kept me, going. Obviously, we all have our down days. We have our days where we feel, discouraged. We feel like, what's the point? Why am I here? But then, those are the times when you really run back to the Word. You run back to who He is and what He did for you. And, that's what keeps me grounded. That's what keeps me energized is knowing that, I have to tell as many people as I possibly can about how wonderful this person is and how they sacrifice their life for the whole world.
Yes. Yes, my favorite thing to see on a T-shirt is John 3:16.
Amen. I agree.
So, that's the first 12 questions. Do you, go to a baker much?
I don't because I do all my own baking.
Oh, yeah? Good for you. I can't wait to try it. I know that all of you are really handy around the house, and I know your brothers are doing things like remodeling homes and in that construction kind of a thing. And it seems like most of your women have been doing the same thing with them from
Yeah.
time to time as well, right?
Yeah, we, grew up very, very hands-on. Our mom, she wanted to make sure that we knew how to, do the important things in life so, we could take care of ourselves. And, we're very entrepreneurial growing up. So we obviously ran our own businesses and, we're very successful at that. So, yeah.
That's good stuff. So when I go to the baker, and I buy a dozen of anything, I get a free one. Okay, so if it's cupcakes, donuts, rolls, it does even bread. I've never bought 12 loaves of bread before, but I'm sure I'll get a 13th one. So here's your question, your baker's question, the 13th one. What is the thing that most people misunderstand about you?
I would say the one thing most people misunderstand about me is I'm a servant. I'm a giver. And I think a lot of people sometimes think that that comes across in a way that there's ulterior motives attached to that.
Yeah,
And so that's misunderstood because I'll give as much as I possibly can give, whether that's my time, my
yeah,
energy, my assistance, whatever. And I think most people in the past, they're like, okay, well, you did this. What do you want? And I'm like, well, I don't want anything. I did it out of a good heart. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things that's misunderstood about me.
yeah. Yeah, these days we hear about quid pro quos and strings and,
Yep.
entangling, whatever you one of these days I'm going to give you a call. You're going to have, I'll ask you a question and you will not be able to say no, that sort of
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
But I do see you as being, normal and habitual for you to just constantly be a giver.
Yeah.
So, all right, folks, don't be misunderstood about that any longer. And so that's the questions that we have from the script. Now, do you have any questions of me, Hannah?
I don't, other than the fact of how can I share this with others?
Well, I'm glad I never plug the places that people can find this. I think we're on 17 different platforms, but all the big ones that you can think of: Amazon, Apple, Google, Spotify, Audible. There, it'll show up there. If you go in and you look for um, simple questions for 100 people, you'll be able to find it, and it'll probably come up sometimes in maybe the next 7 to 10 days. Okay.
Okay. Awesome. That sounds
Yeah.
fantastic.
So, you have anything else that you want to say to people to kind of wrap up?
No, I just really thank you for being patient with me. I know you've been asking me for like almost a year to be on this podcast, and I just put you off because I've been so busy.
Yeah.
So thank you for continuing to reach out to me. I'm glad I finally was able to cut some time into my schedule to be able to do this with you. And yeah, if anybody wants to follow me or find me, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, the Hannah Bishop. So
Absolutely. Well, you are very welcome, and as I always say, no wine before it's time, okay?
I agree.
When we got together, it's absolutely the perfect time. It always is for everything in life, isn't it?
I certainly agree. Yes.
So I thank you, Hannah Bishop, for your time today and for the messages out to all of our listeners. And just invite you all to just keep tuning in. And again, you will enjoy, especially if you go looking on uh, Hannah's story. She is constantly posting all of the things that she's in with different parts of the country and and then stuff with family. So it's really wonderful. And so thank you again, Hannah.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yep, it certainly has. So be well, and all you at home, simple questions for 100 people. It's funny, but not everybody answers things the same way. So I guess it's definitely worth listening. We get to hear everybody, their unique wonderfulness, and how absolutely genuine everyone is. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you.
All
Bye.
right.
You've been listening to Simple Questions for 100 People, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can find every episode at exvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcast app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts.